Hey y'all, what's good? What's happening? So, we decided to check out Weebcon. This is our fourth time going, and over the years, when we first went in 2023, we didn't really know what to expect. It was completely new to us. So, being that this is our fourth time coming, even though they were under different management now, from what we heard, uh, we still had expectations, but not like, I guess what you would say, like, I don't know, like kind of like the same stuff from last year, right?
Right.
All right, so Ardonna, I know you have a lot to talk about when it comes to WeCon, so let's get to it.
All right. So I want to talk about like the tickets. Of course, the ticketing process was easy. It was very simple to purchase stuff. Now, as far as like the VIP perks, whatever. Now we didn't do VIP. We never did VIP for WeebCon, but I've noticed some concerning things, especially if you're VIP. Like for example, with like the lines. Some guests didn't have, VIP lines, which is kind of confusing because, to my understanding, VIP meaning y'all get a whole separate priority line. And then I noticed that some of the VIP people, they didn't really, get their stuff. So I'm not sure what happened. It could have been like a miscommunication, or maybe the convention was ready. I'm not entirely sure.
I didn't even know all of that. Well, as far as the Lions is concerned, I did see that there really wasn't any differentiation between what would be like the regular attendees and the ones that did pay extra. Now, being that we came to this convention, I mean, we don't really buy VIP for anything anyway. But had I chose to get VIP, and I had the assumption that I would have like all these perks, like being able to go, kind of do like a little fast pass when I want to get like autographs done, I would be kind of upset that I don't get that, because you pay extra for certain things, right?
Right.
Now, I will say, down by the voice actors, I will say the lines weren't really extensive, except for the ones that have like the high priority, like Alex Lee line was dumb long like always. But as far as like the lines that we were in, I didn't really see a problem, honestly.
No. Now I know the Japanese VA lines was terrible. I mean, okay, here's my thing. I get it that the agency or whoever had set the rules, but I expect the rules to be consistently followed from day one to the end of the con. Like, I get it, some attendees were breaking the rules, but at the same time, they should have had somebody to make sure the rules were being like followed. It was just like a lot of confusion going on, and that's why I didn't do Japanese VA this time, because it was just too much craziness that was happening.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, normally when we go to WeCon, there's always at least like one person, because year before last we did Rock Lee, and of course the creative director for My Neighbor Totoro, shout out to him, he was so nice. And then last year you did the one that did Captain Hisagaya, right?
Yeah, Rami Park, yep.
Right, so this year she was on the fence, and kind of glad we didn't do it, because it really looked like a cluster bomb when we went to that third floor. I was like, I'm glad we're not lying. So, that might be something they need to look more into. Because I know that first day we went, it looked like a mess. And then that Saturday, it looked like an even bigger mess. Right. Now, I will say, they did do a really, really good positive. And this is why I can tell that they are under different management. The whole faction setup, I thought that was a great idea. Last year when they tried to do the whole little, what was that?
It was DLC.
Yeah, the little
DLCs.
Yeah, that stuff
was too many.
It was so convoluted.
Yeah, people didn't get their stuff. Like, even though some people didn't get their stuff, this year it still was manageable, because they only have to worry about like 4 different types as opposed to like more than 6. It was just too much.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I don't even remember what we even got last year.
Shoot, I don't know. Just
So the 4 that they had was Isekai, Shogu?
I think it's
Shoujo?
pronounced Shouju, Shonen, and CNN. Excuse my pronunciation, y'all, because it's been a minute. But they had those 4 factions, and it was really funny how people were competing, and they was participating in the Weebcast and stuff like that. So please continue with the faction, because I feel like that's not only, within the brand of anime, but it's kind of like, the Weebcon's own OCs, and that way they have their own merch. And the merch was really cute, though, because I bought all 4 of their enamel pins, but, I like to collect stuff.
Not to mention, I also was able to get some of the voice actors. I think Zeno was doing the AJ Beckles.
AJ Beckles and Naris, and I think Adam, also too, and Emmy Lowe, I think.
Yeah. So I thought that was a very, very, really good idea that they went ahead and did like that spin on things. So I think that's something that they should definitely keep. Let's see. We didn't really come into like any parking issues. Not like that. Not like previous years. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can say from what I've witnessed, so the off-site parking, of course, that wasn't, under what Weebcon say. It was basically, the Gaylord convention, so let me clarify that.
Mm-hmm.
Because technically, people who's parking in the garage are supposed to be, guests of, the hotel, which I can understand.
But it doesn't make any sense because, like, when you think about it, when you make that left, when you make that left to go towards the convention center, it specifically says on the sign, convention center parking.
Yeah.
So realistically, like the people that's staying at the hotel, I mean, they have other parking lots that they can park at.
Yeah.
So that specifically, it's not under Weebcon control, obviously. I just thought Gaylord was real silly with doing that stuff. But hey, that's neither here nor there. Yeah. We still parked there 2 days in a row, so I wasn't tripping.
Yeah. So. I mean, I heard the off-site parking was like crazy because people didn't pay for the off-site parking, and drivers with the shuttle, they wasn't picking up people no more and dropping them off because people. Yeah, I feel like it's more of a communication issue and more people that's got to be on deck to make sure nobody's parking without paying. It was some crazy stuff that happened to off-site parking. Thankfully, we didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah, so that part was fine. Let's see what else.
Oh, what I can say is signage. I appreciate the fact y'all use the stand-up banners. Because, stand-up banners, they're easy to see. And I appreciate the fact you had directional arrows of where we're going. But here's the thing, though. Y'all convention map, I understand y'all didn't really put the positions of where things were because you guys were afraid, I mean, not afraid, but you guys know that things can change. But my advice to y'all, instead of just putting exactly like where the voice actors would be, I would just represent it like a rectangle or something and just signify, okay, this area is where the voice actors would be, or this is the area where Artist Alley would be. And then also, as far as, shopping the exhibitor hall and stuff like that, I did get lost because I was finding myself going in circles. So it would be kind of nice to give like each a vendor like a number or letter or something or some sign to signify, oh, this row is this, or somebody, because I was kind of finding myself passing by the same vendor like 10 times.
Now, one thing I did notice about this whole vendor thing. Now, I'm going to assume that this is a family-oriented convention to go to because, I did see a lot of kids. Now, when you go to where these vendors are, there was a lot of stuff I saw that was kind of like real suspect. Like, I don't know, man. I would feel some type of way if my 8 or 9-year-old see like this anime girl with huge like watermelons, and like you see skin. Now that would be kind of, or let's say you see like one of those anime guys who he just has a cloud over his, lower half of the body, but you see nothing but abs and chest and musculature. I know y'all not trying to pass off as 18 and over, so might want to see what these vendors are really selling. so that way people won't have the assumption that y'all are not going to be family oriented, you know?
And I could have sworn they had it on the site somewhere that the vendors, they're supposed to either cover that or have it in a binder or something. But my thing is, they had the 18 plus content in a binder, but they still had stuff hanging and it wasn't covered. So I think that need to be like enforced, because if you're trying to be a family friendly convention, you got to make sure that they not only have their stuff in the binder, but make sure their art is covered. Because bro, I seen so much skin, and I'm just like, I hope the kids didn't see this.
Yeah, I think that's something very much so major that needs to be addressed, you know?
And here's another last thing. So I've noticed some sellers claim that they were not AI, but unfortunately, I mean, I can't remember who the vendor was, and I wish I took a picture, but they had AI work on their station, so I would do some vetting with that, because some vendors can lie and say, oh, my work is not AI, even though it was. So please do a lot better with vetting.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can kind of tell. Well, at least for me, I'm not much of a artist or anything, but you can kind of tell when something is manufacturally drawn versus like hand drawn. You feel me? Let's see what else.
The schedule times. Now, okay, what I do appreciate on their website, when stuff get canceled, they did update that. Now, as far as scheduling, I know this has to do with like communication and stuff like that, but I would like for them to work better as far as timing, because some things started late and some things didn't happen along those lines. So I think that's something that need to be worked out.
Okay, that's good to know.
Right. And let's see. As far as volunteer, now I did notice that the volunteers, they weren't as like mean-spirited and stuff like that.
I did encounter quite a few nice ones.
Oh yeah, not few. It was several. I mean, even though the crazy stuff that was happening behind the scenes, it seemed like they were, trying to fix it as much as possible, and they was trying their best. So I can see that the volunteers that you guys got, it really helped somewhat, minimize the frustrations I have, because some of the little stuff that bugged me, the volunteers, they did really help to,
Well, that's definitely an improvement from last year, I will say that.
Oh yeah, most definitely. To be honest with you, I think as far as volunteers, I think this is the best year they have with volunteers and stuff.
I will say, like, the activities part where the games are, that was fun. They had laser tag, archery. Thought that was really cool. And they had like some section for, I guess, LARPing.
Yeah, LARPing. Yeah, because we heard the guy with the shield.
Yeah, like guy that had like shields and swords back there. So I thought that was cool.
Right.
And they did have like a lot of Japanese games. So I thought that was also cool too. So nice little touch. Me personally, I would still prefer like the retro World Series people. Love Al and what he does, but hey, that's just me. Yeah. What grade would you give Weebcon for this year?
Okay. So,
I know me personally, I would give them a B. Maybe like not really a B plus, but just a higher B. Yeah. Still in the middle.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, originally I was gonna give them a C, but I had to rewind and be like, you know what? Considering that they're under, a new way of things, whatever, I'm gonna give y'all grace, because normally I'm very stickler about things. But for the most part, I'll give y'all like a high B, not a B plus, but like a higher B.
Yeah, so I think that's what it's gonna be for Weebcon this year. So with that being said, y'all, we're gonna holler at y'all later. As always, we appreciate y'all listening to our videos and everything. With that being said, we out this thing. So the Green Kids Adventure Song, have a very blessed day, peace, and we are out of there.